This video is to get through in 10 minutes and help you make a beat with three different types of instrument loops: drums, bass, keys, and or keep going, maybe a guitar or something. That's up to you. All right, so we're going to get started with Soundtrap. Soundtrap is a web-based digital audio workstation. It's not a professional level platform yet, but in a way, it could be the future of music production. It's actually a product owned by Spotify, and from that makes me wonder if pretty soon they might integrate publishing and distribution on the Spotify platform for producers off of the Soundtrap platform. So, not a bad thing to play with and to get to know. And I think it's going to, definitely give us the opportunity to learn enough about MIDI and drum programming and instrumentation to make a go of it. So once you sign up, and I'd like you to sign up with your SEQ emails, we will be in kind of a collaborative classroom group. In fact, one of the cool things about Soundtrap is the ability to collaborate with other people. And for us, it'll be other students within our production groups. So this is your profile page. So once you sign up, you should probably see a page like this. My projects, where you'll have it's like a folder essentially of all your different projects. You can click on Enter Studio here, or up in the right upper, middle right of the top of the screen. You can click on Studio. It'll take you to the same place. And that is where you do your work. It asks you this question: do you want a music-based template or a podcast-based template? And all I can tell you is they're basically the same exact thing, except on the music template, you have a music-based ruler, meaning that what you see across the top there is bars and beats. They're musical references as opposed to time, minutes, and seconds. So the podcasting template is essentially set up in that way. So you can do a lot of things, create a new session. And when you create a session, that's essentially a song. You can export your work as an MP3 or as a WAV file, send it off to a friend, put it up on SoundCloud. I'm going to skip over things that I don't think are totally relevant for what we need to learn today, and we'll come back to those things. In terms of editing, probably easier to see once I have something to look at and they're not all grayed out. But you have your undo, your typical things that you're always going to have. I'm on a Mac, so it's probably giving me the Mac quick keys like Command Z, Command E, just like in Pro Tools for split region or cut. Cutting a region, Command X, etc., etc., etc. I imagine if you're on a PC, it will give you the PC-based quick keys. Settings, I'm going to skip over all of this for now. I'll point out that sound quality defaults to high. We always want to keep it high. And we'll just keep moving here towards things I think are important. Let's name. So Untitled Song is the name of this project. We're going to call it Loops Kaufman. Or you're going to call it Loops with your last name. And I really like Loops space last name. That's one of my things. Okay. Not worrying about sharing right now. I believe that I will always be a shared collaborator with you so that I can check in on your progress and see how it's going. We're not going to talk about upgrading, not going to exit because we just got here. All right. So as I mentioned, this ruler here is measures. So we have, from 1 to 2, that's a measure. From 2 to 3, that's a measure, or 4 beats. You can come over to this machine, settings here, and you can change the grid values that you're going to see. You can have, eighth notes, 16th notes, quarter notes, whatever. I think it defaults to 16ths, automatic grid size. Time signature, you really only have a choice of 2. Most of us listen to music in 4/4 time, so it's not that big of a deal. And we're going to leave the ruler in beats. You can change it to time, and that's really the difference between podcasting. All right. Down on the bottom here, this is important. You have your transport, your record, your stop, your rewind all the way to the beginning, or your rewind, your play, and your fast forward. I'm going to kind of go from there. This is your tempo, 120. That's going to change depending on the loop that you choose to play with. The goal today, you're going to make a song essentially of drums, bass, some kind of a piano instrument, and I'd say throw in some love. Give me something else too, but a minimum of 3. What is a loop? A loop is a pre-made piece of music, a short phrase that can loop perfectly. And by loop means it plays over. It can play over and over and over, and it sounds like it's just continuing to play. Loops can come in either MIDI format, and we'll talk about that some other time, or audio, and all instruments, whether it's drums, bass, keys, or whatever. So we're going to come over to this purple button of notes here. And when you click on that, it essentially launches the Loops browser. And if you clear that out, it's an attribute-driven browser, which means that you're going to choose, say, guitar. And then once you get to guitar, it narrows down the types of guitar-based loops. And then you can kind of narrow it down even more using attributes, things that describe the loop that you're looking for. So if it's a rock-based loop, for example. So you can then preview them by pressing play. Okay, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So that's a 2-measure loop. You have some lead stuff. There's all kinds of cool stuff. My recommendation is that you start with drums. And in my previewing of stuff, I wanted to go and find this Brampton. Now, you can do anything you want. Pretty hard little hitting hip-hop trap beat. Okay, so once you preview something, you can click on this heart, and that will kind of put it in your favorites and save it, besides, instead of having to go through hundreds of different things, loops. So we can click on this and drag it right into this add track, and it automatically puts in a track. Press stop here if you want. Other quick keys, your space bar stops and starts playback. So I can hit my space bar, or I should be able to hit my space bar. There you go. I can stop with my space bar. So this, when I look at it, starting at beat 1 of measure 1, it's going all the way through measure 8 and stopping at measure 9. That means that this is an 8-bar loop. Now, that doesn't mean that it's 8 bars of new and unique ideas. They're kind of played over and over again. So let's give that a listen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And it's cool. I like it. Hitting return or enter will bring you back to the beginning. That's another quick key. Notice that the tempo registered at 134 because this is programmed. The vibe was 134 BPM, 134 beats per minute. I can slow that down. I can make it, say, 110, hit confirm, and it will play at that tempo. Okay, sounds fine, but it's not what the vibe is. So I'm going to put it back at 134 because that's kind of that genre. And I'm going to go look for a different instrument now. Okay, so I want some bass. So I'm going to get some bass, and let's see, boom, 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 boom. Notice over here where it says key, there's no key associated with the song yet because all we have is percussion. All we have is drums. There is no key associated with drums. Okay, so let's see what that sounds like. Ooh, interesting. I don't know how that's going to sound, but I'm going with it. Don't choose the first loop. Oh, there it's 10 minutes already. It's got to keep going. Sorry. Turning up the volume over here. So you have volume. You can solo or just listen to the instrument on that track, or you can turn it off or mute it. All right. In order just to finish, I'm going to get a piano, actually not a bass piano. I'm going to X out, so clear my search field there. I'm going to choose piano. Let me go down. What is this? Okay, so now that I actually put the bass in, I want to go back and look at the key. It's A minor, which, so now that we have a key, the next section needs to fit. And another cool thing that makes Soundtrap and, to be quite honest, applications like GarageBand fun is that we can pretty much grab anything and it's going to automatically transcribe into that key. Usually music making is not that easy, but it's cool. It's fun. All right. So now let's see what this sounds like. To my ears, these two notes are great. This note, I'm not loving it. But, technically speaking, this is audio, so it's harder to pitch than the MIDI stuff. In fact, I'm going to delete this really quickly. So if you saw that, click on these three dots. You can delete a track. I'm going to choose a different bass just because I want to. Let's see what happens with that. It's not perfect, but it works. It does work. Take a bouncy bass. All right, it does work technically speaking. I'm just trying to get through this without having you spend a half hour. Let's see some guitar. No. Ooh, that's actually kind of dope. I kind of want that instead of other things. Okay, really, really quickly. Say you want some of this piano, but you also want this guitar, and they're kind of clashing, or they're not, they're just not playing together. I can't hear them all. I'm going to put my cursor right here and then I'm selecting my guitar track. So my guitar track's highlighted. I have this line coming down, and I'm going to hit Command E or edit and split region. And I'm going to do that again over here. And again over here. And I suppose what I really wanted to do is also do that with the piano. And I don't know if this is going to work, but this is the experimentation that's so fun about music. I'm going to cut that out. Cut that out. I'm just trying to hit delete. There we go. Cut that out. Cut that out. Okay, so lots more things you can do. The drums are loud. I'd probably bring them down using the volume knob here. If you click on the guitar icon next to the electric guitar, I could add effects. If I click on effects And then I could add an effect because there's already EQ on it. And say I want to make it sound a little bit more distorted and rock and roll sounding. I'll take this classic distortion. Let's see if that helps that sound cut through the mix a little bit. Okay, so from here, this is about the minimum that I want to see. Drums, keys, bass. You don't have to do the guitar, but I added something. Highlight. If you highlight your track here, or the regions, and you can either do this by going edit, not edit in Chrome, sorry, edit in Soundtrap, copy, and if you place your cursor over at the next starting point, which is measure 9, and it's going to snap to that point. You can't really go anywhere in between, and I'll explain that in another video. And hit edit and paste, or Command V. And I want you to do that, with all of these parts. Another way of doing this, because here we have separated regions, if you highlight them, so I clicked on it, I hit Shift, and I clicked, so both of these are highlighted. Then you hit Option. I don't know what that would be for a PC, but there's many ways to do this. So anyways, I'd just like to try and make this a little bit longer than it would be if it were just left like that as a little loop. Okay, so and we've duplicated it to be 16 measures. Okay, so drums, bass, keys, piano of some kind, and something else if you want. If you want to add effects, you can do that. I still want more effects on this guitar. Maybe even like a delay of some kind. So a delay, but I haven't told you what that is, but it makes echoes. There's a delay. How's this sound? I'm not going to mess with the settings right now. Just see what it sounds like. Doesn't sound good. So that's when I would come back. All right, I'm going to stop there. I think that would, don't ever forget, File, Save. Save your project so I can check in, save your project so you can go back to it. All right, that is where we'll stop.